Say goodbye to the room. Everyone's ready, bus is here, we're off to Ho Chi Minh. Say goodbye to Hoi An. Beautiful place, beautiful hotel. Had a great time here. Goodbye Hoi An. Bus time. Here at Da Nang Airport, about to fly to Ho Chi Minh City. Absolutely shattered, so I can't wait to get an hour of sleep on this flight. Look at this. Let's see how I do with this luggage allowance. You're only meant to have 7 kilograms in your handbag. And look at this thing's a monster. Made it through check-in. My bag allowance was 7 kilograms. I made it through a 6.9. Made it through security. Didn't seem to have a problem with the drone, which is the one thing I was worried about. But I mean, it got rechecked and stuff because I've got like 6 cameras in my bag. But made it through. So it gives me hope to know that you can take your Mavic through hand luggage. So tempting. Not at 8 in the morning though. Time to get on the plane. Looks like I'm sat right at the back next to Benny Boy. There's the plane there. Like, Can't carry your own bags, Paul? No. Made it to Ho Chi Minh. Literally walking through the entrance doors to Ho Chi Minh, and it's one of the busiest places. Another bus. Oh, we have a boutique hotel.
Take them off, it's very technical.
Here at Pho 2000, which is a shithole. But Bill Clinton ate here. When was it? In 2000. Probably why it's named Pho 2000. But we're about to find out what the food tastes like. Lovely tasting food, but absolute shit. Don't know what the hell Clinton was thinking of eating here. Oh my god. Disgrace. It's quite tasty. War Remnants Museum and the aircraft gun. Here at the Army Remnants Museum, and there's some cool stuff that the US Army seems to have left behind here, like anti-aircraft stuff. Look at this Chinook right up here. Amazing. So you pay 15,000 to get in, which is less than £1 to get in, and you get to see this whole thing. I'm really excited to see this. This one, you can be parachuted from an aircraft carrier, and it has a friggin' flamethrower and a machine gun in its ranks. And this is the old Predator. Get to the chopper. Gatling gun. There's one huge rotor. The mainstay of the US Vietnam helicopters that I'm used to seeing anyway in any movies. That's very typical of what you used to see in. Hotel room. Oh shit, I dropped my card. Take 2. Get the lights in. Get the lights on. Oh, there we go. Ah, not bad here. Ho Chi Minh. Ah, it's dropping me garbage. Nice little double bed, that's alright. That'll do. What kind of view have we got? Oh, some stairs. Not happy about that. Let's see what else we got. Safe here. And some flip-flops for the shower. So if you open your wardrobe, you can see the next person showering in it, which is interesting. Let's have a look. Oh no, maybe I'm wrong. Oh, nice glass door. There's myself. Little toilet. And a shower. Oh, look at that for a shower. And betray the door opens this way. Nice old school shower. Right, I'm gonna get ready and then we need to talk about something. Alright, so it's midnight here. I've had a nap. It's a comfy bed, at least I can say that after the room tour. But I said earlier on the room tour that we need to talk as much as I can, possibly through a camera. So today we went to the Imperial War Museum in Ho Chi Minh City, and obviously it was great fun. What I shot of it, we were looking through the cool kind of like tanks and helicopters and obviously warplanes that the Americans used. But then we went inside and there's 3 stories of different tales to be told from the war. A lot of propaganda used on the American side, and also a lot of photos of the whole world standing together against what they thought was a completely unjust war. And it's the first time I'm quite not an unemotional guy, but someone who doesn't really get fazed by things. I've seen enough things on the internet that really kind of would disturb most people, and that you really shouldn't see. I had to walk out of that actually. I had to, after a couple floors, I think I saw enough of what really went on here in Vietnam, of what the Americans did to the Vietnamese people, the American soldiers I should say. Something I never knew that happened, something which before I came to this country, and Laos especially, I thought was kind of I always had in the back of my mind that it was, I mean, I'd never done any research over the Vietnamese War or the Vietnam War, but I always just kind of thought it was just I don't know, maybe the Vietnamese were doing something wrong and the Americans marched in and stopped them, or tried to stop them, and lost the war and kind of went, hey, what are you going to do? But actually it's a lot more, after seeing the whole world demonstrating against it, after seeing some of the war crimes, real war, there's photos, there's a lot of stuff in there that's just absolutely haunting to see, of kids just being massacred by American soldiers, of what napalm and Agent Orange has done to them. And it's been actually something, the reason I'm telling you this is actually throughout my whole trip, especially through Laos and Vietnam, it's been something I've really, that's been absolutely prominent in the whole trip, is that these 2 countries still aren't over that war. They're still, especially Laos, where the Americans, when they were clearly losing the war, were bombing the border between Vietnam, Laos and Cambodia. They're still finding hundreds and hundreds of bombs that are unexploded. Kids are stepping on them. These days they look like little pellets, and maybe the kids think they're a little ball or something and go to play with it and stand on it or pick it up and die or lose limbs. And that was especially the case in Laos. We were told about that in a war museum there, but then to come to here and see photos of it and see, see really harrowing things. If you haven't been to Ho Chi Minh or that war museum, then I do recommend you going. It's really cheap to go to, but obviously the video footage that I was shooting was outside the museum, but absolutely my mind was completely changed when I went inside. And like I say, I'm not a guy whose impressions really last, or the art exhibition very rarely gets to me. But that, after 10 minutes of being in there and knowing there was another 2 floors of this stuff, it really got to me, and it kind of brought full circle everything that I've been told throughout the last 2 weeks of our trip to Laos and Vietnam, that it really still is a problem, and you don't see the US do anything about it these days. I'd like to know if they are, or if someone's helping the relief over here. But that war is still a completely prominent thing in these Vietnam and Laos today. It's still affecting the people. There was a tour guide who came up to me in the museum outside. I didn't film him. Who had no arms, burnt face, looked in his 70s, so clearly had something to do with the war. The one thing I can't wrap my head around is how the United States within 20 years goes from being the kind of, you know, not saves the world but stops fascism, stops Nazism against obviously Japan and Germany in World War II, and then within 20 years kind of becomes the real bad guy, and I say that lightly. But obviously, I don't know, it's really confusing for me, because I always thought of the United States and the West as something that's completely, well, not completely, but kind of, you know, is vested in good or progressiveness, and to see that, I don't know. But maybe it was the US Army soldiers, because a lot of people protesting. I don't know. I'm confused about it. I'm sure the rest of this trip I'm definitely going to go away and research a lot more of it. I don't know much about it at all, but obviously what I've learned here and the little bits I picked up throughout whatever has made me want to definitely now go research a lot more about that war. But it was just something weird, just something really weird that doesn't ever happen to me, and I had to leave. yeah. So anyway, tomorrow we'll go to the Chuk Chi tunnels, and I'm going to go face some fears and crawl into some claustrophobic holes under the ground. So I'll see you then.